It's not often a film can come out and everyone just universally hates it. Well, everyone but some. But Joker, FOLIE DEUX managed this. But what went wrong? And is there any similar films to Joker that didn't do so badly? I'm going to compare the car crash that was Joker FOLIE DEUX to a similar film, SWEENEY TODD. Both films follow psychotic murderers hell-bent on causing chaos. With all that out of the way, shall we begin? Both films have quite simple plots. With Joker, Joker 2 following Arthur being charged with 4 murders in the first film. But wait! The court boredom in this film continues for most of the film, but we are introduced to Harleen Frances Quinzel. Throughout the film, she tries to influence Arthur, but it's unclear if she's real or not because there are scenes that can suggest either way. Do you think the filmmakers used this and tried to make a clever plot? Oh no, they didn't. It's never explained. The film ends, stupidly enough, back in prison, with Arthur having been arrested again, so it starts where it ends, really. But he gets killed by a random prisoner. Not Harleen Quinzel, but a random prisoner. Sweeney Todd, much to my relief, doesn't do this. The film obviously follows Sweeney Todd, who is conveniently a barber, as indicated by the title. Anyway, he moves to London and goes to meet Miss Lovett in a pie shop, where she has the worst pies in London. They both then talk about why he's there, and he reveals he wants to kill the judge because he took away his wife and child. Mrs. Lovett reveals that he killed them, which makes Todd obviously angry. As Todd has no way of killing the judge yet, he decides to take his anger out on everyone else. This means it leads to a large spree of killings, which the bodies are turned into pies. This makes the business very successful as well. They also somehow get a boy to work for them in this process. I'm not exactly sure how, but it happens. The film ends with Todd accidentally killing his wife, who was never dead. In a fit of rage, he throws Mrs. Lovett into an oven, which is quite an impressive scene, really. Sweeney Todd is then killed by the boy as revenge for killing Miss Lovett, I suppose. I'm not really sure. It's never really explained, and I was very tired whilst watching this film. Sweeney Todd is definitely the better plot here, so I'm giving it the point. Next is the origins of both films. Joker 2 is the sequel to, you guessed it, Rain Man. No, I'm joking, it's obviously Joker. Joker came out in 2019 and was a huge success, so predictably, word of a sequel was heard in 2022. There were a few problems with this, mainly being that no one wanted it. The original Joker film really shouldn't have made in the first place because it was a character who's never had a film of their own on a film that isn't really superhero based, so it was a weird success really, so a sequel was always doomed. Needless to say, people weren't very excited to hear that there was going to be a sequel to Joker. Naively, I had hope for it, but I would be soon disappointed. Sweeney Todd, however, is far more exciting, because the 2007 film is based off a stage production. This obviously isn't the only staged performance adaptation to film that's ever been, but it's the only one I care to watch. With this in mind, I think, again, Sweeney Todd gets the point. Now we get into the most questionable part of the whole film, the music. You may be wondering, what qualifies me to talk about music? Well, let me assure you, I'm a keen listener of Elvis, the Beatles, and the Bolt Throwers. The music in Sweeney Todd consists of 20 songs, with personal highlights being No Place Like London and My Friends. Joker, on the other hand, has 16 songs, with not a single highlight. The main point of this, as Sweeney Todd was based off of stage production, it's right to have songs in it. As it was designed to have songs in it, they all link to the story, like Worst Pies in London. This would ordinarily be a really bad song, but as it links to the story it works in the context of it. Joker 2 wasn't able to benefit from this, as because Joker never had any songs in it, adding songs into the second one didn't really work. This leads to a feeling that the songs are out of place in relation to the character of Arthur. They also don't link to the story. For instance, when Arthur hears that he's being charged with the death penalty, he sings about Harley Quinn. This just doesn't work. By removing the songs, it would make the film far better. That's not to say the singing's bad. Joaquin Phoenix does quite a good job, and Lady Gaga's a professional singer, so obviously she's quite good at it. For the music round, with relative ease, Sweeney Todd gets the point. Now on to the success of the two films. As I mentioned earlier, Joker 2 didn't do very well, with an estimated loss of about $150 million. It also got a measly 32% in Rotten Tomato, so it's safe to say this film wasn't very well received. Sweeney Todd wasn't quite the same. Conveniently enough, it profited an estimated $150 million. It also scored better with viewers, getting an 81% in Rotten Tomato. This means, with little issue, Sweeney Todd clearly gets the point for success. The final point to be won is for my enjoyment for the film. Whilst watching Sweeney Todd, I had a simply wonderful time. The story was good, it had great effects, and it had a satisfying ending. Joker, however, I can't say the same about. To its credit, it never felt particularly boring to watch, but it just wasn't enjoyable. That's not very much to go off though, because I've seen Taken 3-4 times. The songs were definitely a mistake for enjoyment of this film, and they should have really been cut out. The terrible ending of this film also really ruined it for me, because Joker just got killed by a random prisoner, not Harley Quinn like it was built up to be, but a random person. For the point, I'll still declare it a draw, because Sweeney Todd's clearly more fun to watch, but Joker still was okay, it never really got boring, and if I don't give Joker a point here, it's a whitewash, so it's just a sympathy point really. So with that, the winner of this video is Sweeney Todd. I'm sure none of you saw that coming. This does make me wonder, what could have made Joker better? To start with, I'd definitely cut the music, that's obvious and I've already mentioned it in this video. Next, I would drastically shorten the court scenes, they're just boring and it doesn't really make sense with the amount of murders he's being charged with anyway. This would mean Joker's escape would be far earlier. Here, he and Harley Quinn could start their empire with the crowd of people Joker made his followers in the last film. This would mean we could explore the city that Joker's turned into chaos. Throughout the film, he could do attacks and terrorize the city. The main plot point of this film would be Arthur fighting with his alter ego, Joker. Throughout the film, he could talk to himself, similar to the scene in Spider-Man with Green Goblin. The film could end with Arthur breaking and the Joker taking full control. This is how the first film ends though, so there's not really any point in a sequel, but that was the case going in, so it was always going to happen. I think that's it really. Joker 2 wasn't really a very good film and shouldn't be made in the first place, but everyone already knew that, so goodbye!